Well, you might think you've seen it all when it comes to desktop amps, but today I've got something completely different. It comes from Lava. It's called the Lava Studio. Welcome back, I'm Tony, and yeah, that's what we're talking about today, the Lava Studio. It comes from Lava Music, the same folks that make those cool carbon fiber acoustic guitars that when I reviewed one, I said it looks like Apple made it. It looks like a acoustic guitar with an iPad on it. And that's the thing, if Apple were to make guitar products, this would probably be what they'd look like. I mean, they take a lot of time to work on their aesthetics, but they also take a lot of time to work on all the details, and they've done a lot with this thing. It is, well, it's pretty much everything, and I'm gonna give you all the details here in just a second. First, I'd like to remind you that I do have a subscribe button down below there, and I'm asking you to leave a comment. The YouTube algorithm thrives on that stuff, and I'd appreciate it if you do that. There's also a hype thing that's new to that. If you feel like hyping it, great. The Lava Studio is pretty much an all-in-one situation when it comes to a desktop amp. I mean, it's inspirational. If I'd had this thing when I first started playing, I'm sure that my playing curve would definitely accelerate. And look, I can still use some work on my playing, so this is gonna help me out quite a bit. And if you've ever had those times where you're sitting there with your practice amp and you come up with something really cool and you're like, oh, now I gotta, let me get my phone and record this or something. You ain't gotta do that with this thing because it's got everything you're gonna need. This was sent to me sort of like a beta test thing. It's currently as a Kickstarter campaign. They're over $1 million on this and 2,000 backers, so it's definitely funded, and they will be shipping in November. So there's always gonna be some little tweaks. Some of the stuff that I'm gonna show you might look different when they actually ship, and there's most definitely going to be more features. I've seen so many updates since I've gotten this thing, and some of the things that I've requested and said, this doesn't do that, why doesn't this do that? They've fixed that already, so that's fantastic. Let's go ahead and show it to you. All right, so let me run down some of the main features of this Lava Studio amp. It currently has 30 plus Lava AI amps. I'm sure they'll add more in the future. 40 plus effects modules, just about everything that you're going to be looking for effects wise. And they emulate a lot of the most famous and popular effects too. 300 plus backing tracks. There's an 8-track loop and community sharing with that for the looper. World-class instructors, interactive tabs, built-in mini DAW, 2.1 audio system, versatile playback. It has Bluetooth, USB-C, and it has some apps, which I'll show you in just a minute. And it's really easy to edit everything. So say I have this pedal board set up and I wanted to move that effect. I could grab it and move it like that, move it back. Just like an iPad type of thing, you know what I mean? You've got all of your adjustments on your amp right here. I can adjust the highs or whatever. It's, you know, you gotta grab that a little bit and move it to where you want it to be. Actually, I want that about right there. I love this rig that I built this rig right here. I called it test rig. I'm gonna discard the changes. Yeah, so this is my test rig. And there's all these other rigs that are in here. Plus it has a ton of library presets. So you can go in here to the library. You can say I want electric, bass, acoustic, clean funk, fusion, jazz, alternative rock, heavy metal. Let's look at heavy metal. And you've got all these different rigs that you can pull up here. Death metal tight, and you can preview it once you do that. You can go through extra and specific. Let's see what we got here. Clean, delay, ambient. So, I mean, you know, you can use one of those that's already in there. This is just a regular clean preset there. Or you can make one. New preset, you add your amp, and we can go through all these different amps that we've got on here. There's just a ton of amps. Just about every amp type that you'd want to use, they've got them in there. And it's pretty obvious which ones that they sort of, you know, emulate. So we'll just do that. I'll add that one. Add a cab. You can go through all these different cabs. We'll just go with that right now. Turn that up a little bit. And add an effect. So in the effects, you've got gates, wahs, comps, drives, EQ, mod, delay, reverb. I want to go with the gate on the first one. I'm going to go with this one. Okay, and then I'm going to add another effect. We'll go with drive. I'll put this tube 808 in there. And then of course you can adjust these further from there, turn them off, whatever. And remember, you can reorder them as well. Now let's see what that sounds like. Let's go to the amp. Let's turn that gain up. And if you want to go advanced, you can even dig further into it. I mean, they've got the high shelf and resonance. Crunch. Lead. It's pretty cool, man. Go back to basic. Also, you'll notice that this lights up as you're playing. So if you're in one of the amps or whatever, we can go to this. There's no light around it. See, it lights up all the way around the thing. And, you know, just an aesthetic thing, but it's cool. I dig it. So, I mean, you know, there's just, I'm not going to go through every single thing in here. A lot of these were already on here. Classic rock was on here. I added one down here called Clean AF, just so I can... No effects, just a Fender amp, Fender 65 Twin. And of course, each one of these you can adjust. So that's Modern Gent. I can go here. I can say I want to adjust that drive. And I'm going to discard the changes on that. So lots and lots of possibilities in there. And let's go to this again real quick here just for fun. I'm going to do a new effect. And they've got some really interesting stuff in here, like you've got the wah. Of course, you can adjust all of those. Comps. Some reverbs. Chamber reverb. Yeah, so we're not going to go through all these, but I wanted to look at these mod ones because you've got phasers in here. And this one right here looks like the MXR Phase 90. Pitch shift. That one's not quite as loud as some of the other effects, so. So, you know, I mean, there's just tons and tons of stuff to play around with in here. Retro chorus. Anyways, okay, I could sit here and do that all day and it would get ridiculous. So you can save the changes there, you can name it, whatever you want to do. Everything is really easy to work with in here. You've got a tuner in here. A little hot right there. Yeah, so tuner, and then you've also got a metronome on here if you wanted to use a metronome. Which you can tap or you can just increase it like that. You've got some icons up here. This says that I'm plugged in, the Bluetooth is on, and so is the Wi-Fi. You've got settings over here. You just hit that little settings thing. You can adjust the brightness, the master volume, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and you can actually record on here. You can do screen recordings of this, and you can access, let's see, Snapshot, so you can do that. All of those things are saved in your Lava Cloud. Okay, going back to settings, you can also go to more settings, and in here you can get a lot more specific with everything. I'm gonna just hit this button right here, and you've got a bunch of pre-installed kind of little GIF type thing. They're not GIFs, but little animations that you can choose, or you can upload your own photos to the Lava Cloud, and you can put those on here as well. It's pretty cool. All right, so going on to Lava Plus. Now this is where this thing really starts to shine. Yes, there are a lot of amps out there that have modelers and all that stuff, but on here, you've got backing tracks, and like I said, there's over 300 of them in every category you could possibly imagine. The only one I don't see on here is heavy metal, but that, you know, that would be cool. And then there's loops. When you go in here, this is these are backing tracks for loops. Okay, so you can just pick one here. This one, for some reason, I just like working with. Let me change the amp. Now that'll keep going too. Back to Lava Plus. Now, of course, you can adjust, hold on. Now, of course, you can adjust the volumes and separate volumes and all this. I'm not going to go into every single detail here today. I just want to give you a really good overview of what we've got on here. 170 beats per minute is what that is. You can change that if you want to. So you can really customize all these, right? It's pretty cool. All the different categories, new, hot. These are all new ones, and you can scroll through and see all of them. I mean, there's just, oh man. I mean, if you're looking for something that will inspire you and get you to play more, I mean, Motel California, if you knew the lead for that or were learning the lead for that, you could just sit down and learn that. It'd be pretty cool. And then if you wanted to use that for a loop, you just hit that, and then it brings up the looper, and then you can record a loop. I don't even know what I'm gonna do right here. Now you can set this up so that it'll just start recording the next loop right away, but we'll just do this. He said I have no idea what I'm doing here on this one. I think you get the point with that, and I'm not going to save that. So there's just tons of stuff in here. You can go to Respawn Improvs, and these are people in the community that have loaded a, something that they've done. That's a little bit more than I can do. That's funny. I don't think I could jam with that guy. I mean, I'm a decent guitar player, but not that good. Now what you just saw there before I kept filming was this stand right here. The stand looks phenomenal, and you could use it without the stand. It's actually a separate purchase. But the little coupler that's down here, you know, you really got to crank that thing down, especially if this is up high. This is not that light of an amp, and it's got, you know, it's got the basic like little couplers in there, you know, like the plastic stuff. So I just raised it back up and tightened it really good. So yeah, it's got all these that you can play along with, and you can do a respond, and it will go up to the community. Again, I'm not the best guitarist in the world, but this is what's going to help me to improve, because I can sit there and just play along, and there's just so many different people. I mean, everything in here, all the different genres and everything else, so those are all those. And then I'm going to go to lessons. Now, on here, you've also got tons of lessons.
Hello and welcome to my little lick tutorial. My name is Nicholas, and I'm going to teach you this lick that I made on the track called Neon City.
I got practice sessions in here for that. And you've got tabs, interactive tabs. So yeah,
hello
it's pretty
and welcome
cool.
To my little...
Just every type of lesson that you might want to do, you could get in there and do that. Now on here, we've got some loops, and these are, let me show you my drafts. Okay, so here's a couple loops that I did. And I could go back into that now if I want to. Edit. And we're back into that loop, which I could go add a couple more loops to it. And then this is one that I've actually been working on a song with. So. Okay, so what I did is I've got a mini DAW on here, and you can go into the mini DAW, and if you do a new project, you can use a blank project or an import groove. You can import one of the groove patterns that are in there for your drum tracks. You can import a backing track, so one of those backing tracks. There is a import from Lava Cloud, so if you've got something you were working on your DAW on your desktop or something like that, and you wanted to, you know, put it in here, you could do that. And then you've got AI stem isolation, so it's going to use AI to isolate the stems. In other words, each individual instrument in there is going to be separated, and here's one that I actually did exactly that with. Let's see here. Okay, so I used that AI stem separator, and I separated all the stems, which was the main guitar, extra guitar. For some reason, I'm just gonna, let me solo that so you can hear this. So you know the guitar's going along. So it must have determined that those notes were like bass notes or something like that. So yeah, you can solo, you can mute a channel. I just left it where it was, okay? And then I added a bass track on here and a rhythm guitar track, and this is what it sounds like. All right, so that is room audio. Let me go ahead and, you know, I'm just gonna pull out the piece that I had from the video that I did on the DAW, a specific video on that. We'll just play that and you'll actually hear the audio that was exported from this. Then I edited it into the video, so let's check that out. Record. So that main guitar that's on there, the AI stem separator didn't separate the 3 different guitars that were in that original loop. It just put it all as one main guitar with that extra guitar. So it might not be perfect. I need to try it with some of the songs that I have in my regular library, you know what I mean, music that I'd purchased, but it's pretty great. Now at the time you couldn't copy and paste, but now you can. So you've got down here where you can go in here And if I wanted to, I could actually, after the fact, change which drum kit I'm using. So that's pretty cool, which we're not going to do. And you can change the name of the track. And now you could delete it if you wanted to, but now you can actually do that, and it's copied that. So we're just going to go paste. And now we have another drum track there. So that's pretty cool. It wasn't able to do that before, but that's what I'm saying, is that you can count on them to continue improving the software, firmware, however you want to look at it. Like I said, it's a Kickstarter right now. So once it goes to the public, they'll have the firmware all fleshed out, and some of these little things that I was like, it could do this, it could do that. That's why they're having people like me test it and give them feedback. That was one of the things I told him. I said, you've got to be able to do that. I'd also like to be able to change the color of the tracks. But what you can do is you can go over here to the three little dots. You can export just that track. You can rename it or delete it, mute it, whatever, adjust them. And you can also pan them right there, which I've got the Guitar 1 and Guitar 2 panned. So this thing is like, it's an all-in-one inspiration machine, something that we really haven't seen before, with a big old display on it and everything. So let's just get out of that. I'm going to exit without saving. And then we've got more. And over here in more, you can do updates. Let's see, I just updated this thing a couple days ago. It's up to date. And they're pushing out updates for this thing, at least during this time while it's still in Kickstarter. They're pushing out updates at least once a week. Lava Cloud. So in Lava Cloud, this is where a lot of my stuff lives. You know, pictures that I've uploaded that I might want to put as a background or something like that. This is a really cool one. I do a little bit of astrophotography, and that is the Milky Way as shot from our beach out here. All right, so audios. So this is stuff that actually carried over from the Lava Me as well. What was this one here? So everything is stored in one place, and I love that. Videos. And, you know, like I told you, this thing can actually record the screen. These are, I think, oh, this is a screen recording from this one. So that's a video that's playing right now that I had recorded on here on how to do all this setup and stuff. Pretty cool. And this over here is your app center, okay? You can go to the app center. And these are apps that you can install. They've got a browser on here, Spotify and Apple Music. I installed Apple Music. I don't have Spotify, but I can use that to play along with tracks that are on Apple Music, which I think is pretty great. And YouTube is another one that's on here, because I've already installed that. I have Apple Music and YouTube installed on here. I think YouTube might have been installed on there when I first got it, but. So much like on other devices where you can pull up a song on YouTube and play along with it, you can do that on here too. So I could search for So you can look up pretty much any song that's available on YouTube and you're good to go. Hit this little button back here and we're going to go back to home and there we go. So yeah, they're going to be adding more apps. There's going to be more functionality to the DAW. There will be more to Lava Plus. And they have added, I think since I got this thing, they've added maybe 10 or 15 amps and cabs and effects and stuff. So it's just going to continue to grow. And I just think that is so freaking cool. And what's cool is that when you're done, you can just pop this down and it's got a nice solid little pop to it. This thing is designed and manufactured like super, super well. That is great. Very minimalist looking. And the sound is quite fantastic. So the screen folds flat and you just whoop, pop that right up like that. And it is nice. I mean, you can angle it however you like. Got a nice grill on here and that is your input right there, instrument input. Headphone jack right there. We've got a button right here to turn it on and off and a volume knob. As you see, you'll get feedback on the screen when you use that. Walking around here to the side, got their logo on there. Get around here to the back, you've got your power right there, USB-C, left and right outputs. And this right here is, of course, a port for bass. It's got like a rubberized little thing around it. Now there are little things in here. You can actually run the cord down through this for better aesthetics. Comes right out at the bottom down here. And this is that cuff that I was talking about right here. Got to really crank that thing. And to give you an idea of the back of it, there are little silicone pads right there to make sure that it's a nice soft landing, and it just kind of has a little thud to it. So there we go, Lava Studio, and it is currently on Kickstarter. It should ship in November. It is fully funded, and they have over 2,000 backers already. And this is the time to do it because you can save quite a bit of money by doing it as a Kickstarter campaign. I want to send a big shout out and thanks to Sean from Lava Music and Lava Music for sending this over to me. I really, really appreciate it, and I think it's really going to improve my playing, and I think it could improve a lot of people's playings. Either way, it's always there for you when you're writing, or if you're just noodling around and you come up with a great riff and you're like, oh crap, you don't have to find something to record it. You can just get it all right on there. You can even record the screen if you want to see how you did it. I think that's kind of amazing. Now, is this an amp for playing gigs, busking, or whatever? I don't know. I mean, you could probably use it for that. The volume is pretty loud on it, but it's not something you're going to be playing over a drummer. If you're somebody who's playing in a coffee shop, or you're playing at one of the piers here on the Outer Banks, it might work for that. I think it's more meant for your desktop, or in this case, a stand. And this thing on a stand looks great in the living room. I mean, my wife is not even like, hey, what is that? It just looks like part of the decor. So I think it's pretty great. I'll put some links down in the description to the Kickstarter campaign and to their website if you want to check out their website and their other products. I think Lava does a really good job of making something that is very utilitarian into a future device type of thing. So they're a company to watch for sure. So that's Lava Studio, and I'm Tony, and I want to thank you so much for your support here on this channel. It means the world to me. Likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, always very important. So if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and notification bell. Click both of those, you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. There's also a thanks button down below this video. If you are so inclined, you want to toss a couple bucks my way, it's not inexpensive to run these channels. Just click on that and send what you want. Oh, also don't forget, if you feel like hyping this video, it's a new feature to YouTube. Go ahead and do that. I appreciate it. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.